All right, welcome back. So, second video today on the Entertainment Guy channel. There's hockey stuff that I need to do a video on too before I turn in for the night, but I had to watch wrestling. I also watched Dark Side of the Ring, the plane ride from hell. I saw enough stuff about that today on social media to say, okay, I need to see this and understand why Tommy Dreamer's in hot water. So I will talk about that in a video tomorrow. That is my intention. But I want to talk about Rampage tonight and what happened with AEW Rampage and all of its splendor and glory. First off, the TSN website that I watched it on is frustrating, aggravating, and all that wonderful stuff. But I did eventually get the feed. Lucha Brothers versus Butcher and the Blade to start things off. Good title defense here by the Lucha Bros. Ray Phoenix is fantastic. He really is. Like, WWE has spent all of its time looking for the next Rey Mysterio. They really have, and they've had more misses than hits in trying to find the next Rey Mysterio, right? Ray Phoenix could be it. Absolutely. He's I'm pretty sure he's bigger than Ray. He does more of the power moves than Ray does, but he can do all the high flying stuff, and he's just fantastic. He really is. And then Excalibur tested Jericho's Spanish. Jericho is always good on the mic. He is always fantastic as a color commentator. Tonight was no different. Blade then tied Penta's mask to the middle rope. And it continues this thing that AEW is doing. Target masks and target face paint for wrestlers wearing face paint. And it's devious, it's done by heels, and it works. It makes the crowd really not like the wrestler. And Penta actually removed his mask in order to save Ray Phoenix. So Zero Miedo and Zero Mask as well. And he did make the save on Phoenix. So they end up winning the match, and then Hardy family comes out and makes the attack. So you got Private Party, you've got Butcher and the Blade then as well jumping in, and then Santana and Ortiz come out to make the save, which means we're setting up a big match next week on that huge, absolutely stacked Rampage show. So then we get Anna Jay versus the Bunny. Of course, Ty Conte was at ringside with Anna Jay. Penelope Ford at ringside for the Bunny. So we know what this is setting up, right? Anna controlled things early, and then there was a super kick at ringside by the Bunny. She got some control as well. And Anna coming back from a shoulder injury, and they've worked that into her matches, where her opponents will target that shoulder, which is what opponents will do. They know your weak spot, they will attack it. So, very well done match. Pretty good all around. Anna won it with the most dangerous move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, or schoolboy, or, as it was called on the entertainment crew, the schoolgirl roll-up. So, kudos to Jericho on that one. And then they had a brawl after the match, which ended up with Penelope putting on the brass knucks and knocking out both Ty Conte and then Anna Jay. Brass knuckles are so old school, and yet they work. And whether they would work in an actual fight or not, whether they'd knock you out first try, doesn't matter. They look decent, and it works. So Penelope has really embraced this heel character that she is now, and yeah, she's good with the Bunny. I think that's entertaining. Then we get Matt Hardy in the ring. Now this is where the storylines and the fact that win-loss records matter come into it. The HFO being 0-2 coming into this. So he announces that next week it'll be Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford. Excellent. And Luchas and Santana and Ortiz will be against Private Party and Butcher and the Blade in an 8-man tag match, which should just be crazy. Absolutely crazy. And then Matt goes out and he spots a fan wearing a shirt of somebody he doesn't like, so he brings the fan in there. And I've even got in quotes, fan, that he attacked, because it's not a real fan. You don't see that. That's not how that works at a wrestling show. It's a guy who's planted in the audience to take the fall. And of course he gets his haircut and a little bit of his head shaved before Orange Cassidy comes out, and they just ran off. Jack Evans and Matt Hardy ran off. So they're continuing this build to the Matt Hardy versus Orange Cassidy rematch. We'll see how that goes. It's hair versus hair. My expectation is that Matt Hardy will get his head shaved, and it'll help to evolve his character a little bit more, right? Then we had the Britt Baker Ruby Soho face-off, and there were some pipe bombs in this one. I didn't write them all on the board, but if you get a chance to see the promos that these two ladies put on as they were dueling with one another, it was something. It was good. It was one of those ones where the crowd was, oh, every time something gets said. Britt said Ruby was looking for an identity. That was at the start of it. Ruby denies that, says she's always had her identity. And that basically she said that Britt's generic and Britt isn't any different than other women. I will say this. When AEW first started up, I didn't see with Britt Baker what I see now. Britt Baker now is a fantastic star wrestler. But in the beginning, yeah, I could see some generic qualities to some of her movesets and just her look in general. So there's something there with what Ruby said. Then Ruby said she was entitled in banging some dude in the back and said that was something she'd seen a lot of. And yeah, the crowd right away was like, wow, because of course she's dating Adam Cole. So Adam Cole's probably watching this and going, hey, I just got here. What was she doing before I got here? What was going on? And then he attacks Tony Schiavone because she did hug Schiavone when she came in the ring. So yeah, Schiavone's dead on Rampage is what I'm saying. And then Britt brings up that she got fired. Ruby got fired from WWE, and Ruby says, yep, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me because now I'm in the ring with you, and you're not going to be the champion anymore. And then, of course, they did what wrestlers do. They had a little bit of a mix-up, a little bit of a brawl after, which ended with, of course, Britt diving out of the ring and holding up her title and being like, yeah, I'm the champ. See, now I'm getting thrown off. I didn't put it on the board. Did Ruby have the belt? Yeah, Ruby had the belt and held it up. So they did mirror that again later in the next segment. So again, you've got multiple segments here, right? So we end up with Miro versus Fuego del Sol for the belt and the car. I'm looking forward to the social media post which shows Miro destroying the car. Nobody thought Fuego del Sol had a chance tonight. And I admit, I didn't see what they were telegraphing. I should have realized what they were telegraphing here. So Fuego did well. And then every now and then Miro would go, I am more powerful, and no. I have to say that the former Rusev from WWE, as Miro, as the Redeemer, it is a great gimmick. And it just works. And it's just natural for him. And the promos he's cutting right now are pretty darn good. So there was more fight from Fuego, and the fans really want to see him succeed. There is definitely a very vocal part of AEW's fandom that would like to see Fuego del Sol succeed. And then Fuego with some more fight, even though Miro keeps taking over. And then Miro just snapped. Like, there were some solid haymakers being thrown there by Miro, and then he ends up with the Machka kick, and yeah, no, that's it. But that wasn't enough. He clearly was put out at the idea that Fuego del Sol dared to challenge him again. And as the Redeemer, he felt it was time to bring him to God via death. So he stuffed the car keys in his mouth and then tried murder. And Sammy Guevara came out before Fuego del Sol died. So that's nice. Might owe Sammy a cake or a beer or maybe a beer cake. I don't know. But yeah, Sammy Guevara comes out to make the save after the match, and then he had the belt. And he did eventually, drop it on the apron, and Miro takes it back. But yeah, that was something. So this basically sets up Sammy Guevara as the next contender for Miro, and I'm okay with that. They did hype up next week's shows, look absolutely stacked. Both Dynamite and Rampage. I expect the ratings for Rampage to continue to be mediocre, but I think people are missing out. We got some pretty good wrestling tonight. The tag match was good. Anna versus the Bunny, they gave him a lot of time. And then you get Miro versus Fuego del Sol. And again, Fuego del Sol, I think he's going to get there. I think he's got a lot of talent. And I think he's doing pretty well at learning the craft. And I'm here for it. I think he's going to be one to watch in the future. And there's a lot of that in AEW. There are a lot of young guys who are learning, a lot of young women as well that are learning, and you can tell week by week that they're getting better. And Fuego del Sol had a good match against Miro tonight. Yeah, Miro did end up almost ending his life, but it's a learning experience, right? So we'll see whether or not Fuego learned. My guess is that when Sammy Guevara fights Miro, Fuego del Sol will be at ringside, and Miro finishes the job. But hopefully I'm wrong. Anyways, there you go. Let me know what you thought of Rampage if you watched it tonight. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.